Hello, everyone. Darth Sinovia here. I am. I would normally do a stream. Actually, I would focus on writing or something or relaxing for the evening. But since I'm a glutton for punishment and I'm a Star Trek fan, I just hear some really shitty takes about fucking what's going on in freaking Gaza and the main topic of contention why young people. When I refer to young people, I don't refer to myself as a young person. Okay, some people would consider me young because I'm in my 30s, but when I talk about young people, I'm talking about people under the age of 30. And anyone who's been fucking actually know what the fuck is going on, who isn't living under a fucking rock, knows exactly what I'm talking about. Many young people, or let's forget, not just young people, let's just say people with a conscience who don't want their hands stained with the blood of children, rightfully are angry at Genocide Joe, and I will not call him anything but Genocide Joe. And as far as I'm concerned, he will be, in my eyes, Genocide Joe from eternity, because that's exactly who Joe Biden is. Genocide Joe. Now, anyone who's been paying attention to what's been going on in the media and Gaza and as a whole, we're getting the vote blue no matter who assholes telling us why we should vote for Joe Biden, or those who are trying to get to people who are on the fence try to just do some gaslighting and make it seem like those who care about the people of Gaza and do not want to fucking vote for a fucking genocide are somehow they're the problem. I'll be saying this multiple times in this stream. If you vote for Genocide Joe, you have blood on your hands. It doesn't matter if you vote for Trump or if you vote for Biden. You have blood on your hands. There is no vote for the lesser evil. Of course, if any dipshit fan of this guy runs into my channel, responding to this liberal, fuck you. All right? Seriously, fuck you. Because there's people that actually give a shit about the children in Gaza who don't admit fucking what really happened. Or telling the truth of what actually happened. Like, seriously. It's like liberals refuse to talk about how it actually started. Hamas this, Hamas that. When everyone who fucking knows anything about what's been going on in Palestine, who's been paying attention to this for even a remote amount of time, would know the war that's been going on against the Palestinian people has been going on long before October 7th. Who knows? I may end up doing a series of these, reacting. But considering I'm a Star Trek fan and this guy does content related to Star Trek, and I think it goes antithetical to Star Trek to even support a genocidal monster like Joe Biden, I think I was obligated to respond. Because this video is just like every other fucking vote blue no matter who liberal, gaslighting people into voting for fucking this monster. Now, he does acknowledge the things that Biden is doing and not doing, but he leaves out so much shit. There's so much shit wrong with this video that I had to respond to it. I wouldn't respond this quickly, but considering that I couldn't get this shit out of my mind as I was working today, I figured, you know what? Fuck it. Let's do it. Don't expect this to be a super long stream, folks, because I have work to get up at 6 tomorrow. So let's just get through this as much as we can without pausing the video. So, fuck. Oh boy, this is not going to be something I'm going to enjoy listening to. This is the second time me watching this. But for those of you who don't know, well, you will know soon enough. First, I got to make sure everything's like on, like the audio, so people can actually hear me, so I'm not talking to thin air. So yeah, depending on how people react, if people are interested, I might respond more to vote blue no matter who. And I do think it's important to actually respond to these people. I really do think you should. I think these people should be called out. And why liberals? Because liberals are the ones who actually act like they're the progressives. They support human rights. When push comes to shove, they don't give a damn about human rights. They care about the aesthetic of being progressive, but don't want to actually put in the footwork to actually get anything done, to actually change anything. There's other liberal bullshit I could react to too, like his stance on guns. But I don't want to make this channel about reacting to every stupid shit this guy says regarding politics. But this is something I just couldn't ignore. Let's begin.
With the Israeli Defense Force continuing.
They're a terrorist force, not defense force. They're not defending themselves. They're committing acts of terrorism.
Its operations in the Gaza Strip, with student protests against American support of those operations ongoing, and with President Biden seemingly approaching a point where he might actually withdraw that support.
We've heard about this for months. He won't do it. Come on, you have to know that.
I think it's a good time for those of us who are Americans, and specifically progressive Americans, to acknowledge three most unpleasant and uncomfortable truths.
I don't think these are revelations, Steve. I mean, if you've done any modicum of research about Joe Biden's entire history, he's a known segregationist. He said some racist shit against black people. He is the architect of the 1996 crime bill. There's way more than three truths about Joe Biden. In fact, who the fuck did you make this video for? People are not uncomfortable with the truth of Joe Biden. They know these truths. Joe Biden has said some racist things against Palestinians. These are not uncomfortable truths. These are facts.
About President Biden and what's been happening in Gaza. Uncomfortable truth number one: Biden is complicit in the deaths of Palestinians.
So are you for actually advocating to vote for him and any supporter of Joe Biden.
Some token hand-wringing aside, President Biden and his administration have been fully on board with the state of Israel's military assault on the Gaza Strip, which began in the aftermath of an incursion into Israeli territory by Hamas militants on October.
Racist. No, they're not militants. They're the Palestinian resistance resisting occupation. For someone who claims to be a Star Trek fan, you don't seem to really get that the struggle between the Palestinian people is no different than the people of Bejor resisting their occupiers. I mean, my God. Star Trek parallels our own history, yet you can't even see that. You would have, if you were in the Star Trek universe, you would have considered the people of the Bajoran resistance militants.
October 7th of last year. Since October,
the war did not begin on October 7th, and there's and Hamas is a reaction of 76 years of an ongoing genocidal campaign against the Palestinian people. They did not come out of a vacuum. But this guy is not about educating his audience about the history of Palestine. No, it's not. That's not in his best interest. It's not.
7, the IDF has killed nearly 35,000 Palestinians in the Gaza Strip. And look, I'm not going to argue about terminology here. Lots of us have referred to this as a genocide. Israel has been charged with genocide before the International Criminal Court as a result of its current operations in Gaza. But if you don't think genocide is the...
Why the fuck are you even entertaining the idea of this? No. It's either a genocide, either you think it's a genocide or you don't. There is no middle ground on this. This is what I fucking hate about liberals. This is one of the reasons why before I even became a communist, I grew to hate liberals with a burning passion because they try to find a middle ground in every fucking issue. No, there is no middle ground. There is a genocide. You either believe it's a genocide or which is backed up by facts, or you don't because you're a piece of shit. You cannot fucking pick and choose and try to be in the middle. No, it's a genocide. Stop trying to fucking reason with people who in your audience who support Israel. They can get fucked. Cult of Dusty has more balls than you.
The right word? If you see people calling it a genocide and your response for whatever reason is to look up the United Nations definition of genocide and highlight the sections which you feel disqualify what's currently happening in Gaza from that definition, call it something else.
Call it a genocide, because to call it anything but a genocide completely downplays the atrocities that Israel's committing against the Palestinian people. And not just the Palestinian people, but the people of Lebanon, the people in Yemen, the people in Iraq, the people in Syria. No, I'm calling it what it is, a genocide.
An assault. Call it a military operation. Call it a war crime or an atrocity if you agree that it's
all these things, but it's still a genocide.
Bad, but just aren't comfortable getting too specific. I don't care what you call it.
What the
35,000 Palestinians killed by the IDF since October 7. Of those 35,000, almost 15,000 are children.
Facts.
Were children, I should say. In addition to those 35,000 dead, nearly 80,000 Palestinians in Gaza have been wounded. Women and children account for 3/4 of those. In addition to those, more than 10,000 people are unaccounted for. Women and children account for 70% of those. And in addition to all of those, the UN estimates that 1,900,000 Palestinians have been displaced. That's nearly 80%.
Which is a form of genocide. It isn't just physically killing a population is not the only form of genocide. Ethnic cleansing is also a form of genocide. Of course, we're not going to hear any education in this video.
Of the total population of the Gaza Strip. And the infrastructure of Gazan society has been thoroughly smashed. I'm not an apologist for Hamas.
Oh, I'm not an apologist for Hamas, but...
Fuck Hamas. But here...
Fuck Hamas. Oh, no, fuck you. I can't believe it. I'm going to bring up fucking Star Trek again. Do you think the Bajorans in Star Trek, do you think they didn't do what Hamas is currently doing right now in Palestine to fight for their survival, for their liberation? You are a Star Trek fan, yet you cannot see the parallels between what happened with the Bajorans and the Cardassians. The Bajorans in this situation are the Palestinians, and the Cardassians are the Israelis. The very fact that you could see that when you're watching a Star Trek, but you cannot see that in the real world. No, Hamas did not come out of a vacuum. And again, this guy will not tell you why Hamas did what they did in the first place. And you know what? I'm just going to say this. I refuse to condemn a resistance movement. Why? Because in order to fight for liberation, you do it by every means necessary. There is no clean way to liberate yourselves. You may have to do some fucked up shit. It's, if the oppressors don't fucking want to get killed by the oppressed by using whatever means available to them, then they shouldn't be in their fucking land to begin with. Fuck you. This is literal apologelia for genocide. Anybody who actually says fuck Hamas is a genocidal apologist as far as I'm concerned. You don't have to agree with everything Hamas does, but you have to be objective that Hamas did not just appear out of nowhere.
Here's the thing. Even if you believe Hamas is everything the Netanyahu government says it is, and even if you believe the hands of the Palestinian people are as dirty from the crimes of Hamas.
No, they're not even close. The amount of people that the IDF has killed since 1948 up until now compared to Hamas, it's not even fucking close. There is no this is what I really fucking hate about liberals, especially when they when they look at things from an entertainment lens, because this is essentially what this is. There is no, oh, this side is as equally guilty as the other. No, there's the oppressed and there's the oppressor. One of them has killed more than the other. In fact, and for those of you who are in his audience that are watching this, do you not know that the people in Gaza are living in a concentration camp? Do you know any idea how many children have been born in this camp who have never known freedom in their lives? Can you imagine that? Being born in a prison and never knowing freedom whatsoever. The only thing that you remember, the first thing you remember is hearing bombs fall or hearing about someone that you know be killed by a bomb. Can you imagine that? That's the reality of Palestinians every single day who have been born and die in the Gaza Strip. It's a prison. And there is no innocent Israelis. Those people who continue to do this act, they're nothing more than prison guards. That's what the IDF essentially is in Israel. They're prison guards. They're not a defense force. What are they defending from? They're the aggressors. They've always been the aggressors and always will be the aggressors. There's never been one situation where they actually were not in the wrong. Not once.
As the Netanyahu government says they are. This is, as the president of the United States himself has described it, over the top. Israel.
It's not over the top.
Israel has a right to defend itself.
No, it doesn't. The aggressor has no right to defend itself.
Of course it does. How much safer
No, it doesn't.
is Israel for 15,000 dead Palestinian children? Some folks have said, well, yes, of course, that's horrific, but that's not President Biden's fault.
Well, of course,
he's the president of the United States, not the president of Israel. How true. That's why I'm not.
It is his fault. Every Palestinian that dies is the fault of Joe Biden. Every time the IDF kills a Palestinian child, it's Joe Biden's fault. And for every second that passes where Israel continues to shoot, bomb, and maim Palestinians, Syrians, and Lebanese, forget just Palestinians, it's the victims of everyone in that region. Biden is at fault. He is the president, and those who are in his cabinet are also at fault too. No, this apologelia for Biden. It's like, oh, he's powerless. He can't do anything. Yeah, he can. He could literally end this right now, but he chooses not to because he doesn't care.
Saying he's solely responsible for the Gazan genocide or whatever you want to call it.
He is responsible.
What? I'm not even saying he's primarily responsible.
Oh God, stop with this bullshit. This is so insufferable. Stop. Just stop.
Responsible for it or largely responsible for it. I'm saying he's complicit.
No, he's not just complicit. He is responsible for this genocide. Just like George Bush was responsible for what happened, for the genocide that happened in Afghanistan and Iraq. No, it isn't. He isn't just complacent. He's an active participant to this genocide by constantly supplying them with weapons, by writing bills to defend Israel, having an anti-Semitic bill that protects Israel from criticism. No, he is completely freaking support of this genocide, an active participant of this genocide. Him and every person in Congress who votes to continue to fund this genocide. No, he isn't just complacent. He is an active participant of this genocide. This is no different than the Nazis.
He's involved. He's helping. He's not the only one helping, but he's helping. And while I'm sure much of the relationship between the United States and the State of Israel is defined by and subject to treaties and other agreements which
You really don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Shut the fuck up and stay in your lane.
Limit Biden's options, which is a whole other problem we should probably talk about at some point. Biden's recent declaration that he will halt shipments of certain weapons to
that's not gonna happen. He said this before and nothing has come of it.
Israel if the IDF goes ahead with a planned large-scale invasion of the Gazan city of Rafah implies
they've already done that, you fucking idiot.
That his complicity has been, at least in some measure, by choice. If he can stop sending American weapons to the IDF now, presumably he could have stopped sending them months ago. How many Palestinian homes or schools or hospitals have been reduced to rubble? How many children have been killed by American bombs since
What's your solution?
October 7? How many could still be alive if not for our country supplying arms to the IDF?
It isn't just America. It's also its allies too, but America is the biggest supplier.
How much of that blood is on our president's hands and by extension on our hands?
A lot, actually. Anybody that actually supports Biden has blood on their hands. That includes you.
How much less could there have been? Uncomfortable truth number 2. Whatever Biden does from now on.
This guy, what the fuck does he take his audience for? It's like, oh my God. Uncomfortable truth. Oh my God, there is way more than 3 uncomfortable truths. You could literally do an entire video for hours going into detail of Joe Biden's racist history, and you wouldn't be done, even if you did 2 hours. He has an extensive racist and sexist history. No, there's way more than 3 uncomfortable truths. Well, uncomfortable for liberals, that is, not uncomfortable for those with a conscience.
On to force Netanyahu's government to stop killing Palestinians will be too little, too late. For more than 7 months, the United States, under the leadership of President Biden, has supported the State of Israel's assault on the people of Gaza, supplied arms, vetoed UN resolutions, applied political pressure to discourage international authorities from attempting to hold the government of Israel accountable for its crimes. If the IDF's Rafah offensive escalates, and if Biden halts weapons shipments to Israel, as he has publicly declared he will,
he will not. It's just virtual signaling.
And if the IDF is forced to delay or scale down or abandon its invasion of Rafah, if that happens, that will be a good thing, no question.
This guy has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. He doesn't know anything about foreign policies or geopolitics. You should literally stick to pop culture and just stick to your lane because you don't know anything. You're way out of your depth.
Question. Anything that forces Netanyahu's government and the IDF to kill fewer Palestinians.
How about no Palestinians? How about that? Why is that not in the conversation?
Be a good thing. But even if the killing stopped today, 35,000 Palestinians would still be dead.
No shit.
Even if the killing stopped today, 15,000 Palestinian children would still be dead. Even if the killing stopped today, entire cities would still lie in ruins.
No shit.
Preventing future damage is a worthy and urgent cause, but the damage has been done. That's not all. There's a political side to this uncomfortable truth. It's all well and good for Biden to put his foot down now, but where was this resoluteness 7 months ago? By taking so long to finally maybe do something definitive to block the IDF's attack on...
He could have done something long before October 7th. In fact, his predecessors could have done something, but again, this guy will not educate his audience about the history of the Palestinians and the colonialism they've suffered from for the past 76 years. Because it's not in a liberal's best interest to talk about that. It really isn't. Not to mention, of course, it would require this guy to do what, well, he's a pop culture guy, but it doesn't matter, to do actual fucking research on the subject, which he clearly hasn't. Of course, this is not the only bad video he's done on fucking. There's another one I could show you if you guys want to be submit yourselves more to this garbage.
Gaza, or at the very least reduce or eliminate his complicity in it. Not only has Biden contributed to the deaths of tens of thousands of people, he's also irreparably damaged his reputation with his own base. His thoughts and prayers attitude toward Palestinian casualties while continuing to arm the Israeli military has confirmed some of the worst fears many progressives had about him before he became president.
What the fuck? Has your head in the sand? People have been fucking talk about Joe Biden's fucking record for years. It wasn't just at 2020. It didn't confirm their worst fears. It reinforced them. And for those who warned about what Biden would do, we've been vindicated. Yeah, progressives being freaking vindicated. Yeah, that's a good thing. But you still haven't gave us a solution of what to do about it. But then again, he won't. But I'm just, whatever. Let's just keep the video rolling. We'll be here.
The rap on Biden from the left has always been that he's too attached to the status.
Okay, let's be honest. You're not left. If you actually knew what left looks like, you would fucking run away scared.
As quo. He's progressive. He sees the need for.
He's not progressive. He's a fucking reactionary. He's as right wing as Trump on many issues, especially fucking the border. Oh, are we like especially don't expect him to talk about the border. Hell, he's more right wing in some issues than even some Republicans. He's not a progressive at all. Have you forgotten that Joe Biden said nothing will fundamentally change before he got elected? This is why people like him should just stick to pop culture.
Reform.
And leave the conversation to politics to the adults.
He's so reluctant to challenge certain established norms that he winds up not doing nearly as much good as
because he doesn't care and he supports them. I mean, look what happened with Roe v. Wade.
Could have or should have. He's personally cantankerous and rhetorically pugilistic, but when faced with a situation as grave as the one in Gaza, which demands a significant change in long-standing American foreign policy, namely our acting as a rubber stamp for whatever the government of Israel wants to do, he's unwilling to make that change. He's too trusting.
He's unwilling to make that change because he is a champion of the status quo.
And flawed institutions. He's too reverent toward tradition, too dismissive of new ways of thinking. He is, at least in some way, on some level, a decent man.
A decent. A decent man. Really? You mean a man under his administration, the police have beat fucking Jewish people who protested against Israel's genocide, who arrested Jewish people, but did nothing about the Nazis? A decent man? Where is his speeches denouncing Nazism? Where's his speech actually condemning freaking the genocide of fucking Gaza? Where's his fucking speech defending a woman's rights? Why didn't he qualify Roe v. Wade into law? A decent man? You mean the same guy that defended freaking the existence of Israel in the 80s? You mean the same guy who said you don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist? If I was a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. Or here's my favorite. I don't want my children to go to a jungle. Oh, and another one of my favorites, Joe Biden being a segregationist and working with segregationists to keep black people segregated. This man is a lifelong racist. You're going to call him a fucking decent man? Oh my fucking God, white people. I swear to God. What the? Holy shit. Such fucking brain wars. What the fuck?
But he's weak. He lacks the boldness, the spine to do what this moment demands of him.
He does. He lacks it because he doesn't. He's a sociopath. Get with the program.
What can he possibly do now to change that perception of him?
Nothing, because he supports the genocide in Gaza. He doesn't care what people think.
I don't know. I do know that if
No, you don't know because you won't research shit. You're just like every other liberal who is into pop culture. You don't know fucking politics, and you're talking as if like you know. You don't know anything. You haven't done even a basic amount of research. All it takes, you could have spent an entire day just researching what's going on in Gaza and the history, and you could have at least have enough information to give your thoughts on it. But yeah, you won't even do that because, like every other American liberal, you're just lazy and refuse to do the fucking homework, because that would require actually putting the work into, maybe learning something that may make you feel uncomfortable. Which this is why liberalism, why at the end it's not effective in fighting fascism or fascists in general, because liberals don't want to do that.
If I were him, I'd want to change it because there's an election in less than 6 months, and there are college students protesting his Israel-Gaza policy all over the country right now. And there are people who would otherwise vote for him who are now seriously considering sitting this one out because they can't bring themselves to vote for someone who has been so stubbornly in support of an ongoing and globally televised genocide, or whatever you want to call it.
It's a genocide. Stop with the fucking whataboutisms. And not to mention, some of those people that don't want to vote for Biden are Palestinian who lost family members. And some of them also are Muslim who have suffered even more racist attacks. And so, yeah, what the fuck? Who do you expect these people to do? Or Jews, for that matter. A genocide being committed in their name, in their religion. Or young people who just had enough of these wars. I mean, Joe Biden didn't just get us into a fucking war with fucking Gaza. He's gotten us in a war in freaking Ukraine. Americans are sick of this shit. Young people especially, because our infrastructure is crumbling. We could barely afford a place to live, and yet we could fund all these wars? Yeah, no, young people are pissed, and rightfully so.
But that brings me to the third and final uncomfortable truth we need to confront, because
oh God,
while this one is about Biden, it's directed at us, and a lot of you really aren't going to like it.
Oh yeah, well, we all know.
Uncomfortable truth number 3. We need to vote for Biden anyway.
No, you don't. You don't have to vote for either one. And no, God, let's just hear this as much as we can before I fucking pause.
I've meant every word I've said to you in this video. Israel's assault on the Gaza Strip, I do call it a genocide. Israel's genocide on the Gaza Strip against the Palestinian people is inexcusable. It was.
Yes, it is. Yet why are you advocating for us to vote for this genocidal monster?
Provoked by the crimes of Hamas on October.
Provoked. You refuse to acknowledge what happened before October 7th. The war did not begin on October 7th. It's been going on for 76 years. Hamas did not attack Israel unprovoked. These are people who are trapped in a prison fighting for their survival. It was not unprovoked. Amazing how you could get basic things that your own fucking show that you fucking love so much talks about when they talk about resistance, genocide, and fascism. Yet you cannot apply that to the real world. I keep bringing up Bejor and Cardassia because it's the exact same thing. What the Bajorans were doing to fight for their liberation from the Cardassians is no different than what the Palestinians are doing right now with the Zionists in Israel. It was not unprovoked. They're colonized people, and colonized people will fight by any means necessary. This guy would have supported the colonizer in the war in Vietnam. I guarantee you on that. The Viet Minh would have been called terrorist by this guy. The same people that support the IDF are the same kind of people that would have supported the South Vietnamese government and its fucking lackeys. And no, I don't think it's an unfair comparison because the absolute fucking truth.
October 7, that is true, but those crimes, as horrible as they were and are, do not even come close to justifying what the IDF has done to the people of Gaza. It is an atrocity.
And yet you're admitting what led to October 7th. You still haven't told your audience why it happened the way it did. Oh, if you think this video is bad, I could show you another one, which is even worse.
The American support of and defense of and complicity in this atrocity is also inexcusable.
That includes yourself, because you're advocating the voting for Joe Biden. Your hands are not clean.
There's a permanent stain on the good name of the United States.
What good name of the United States? If you do a modicum of research, I mean, on Latin America alone, there's coup after coup after coup after coup that this country has supported. And Exio Pinochet, you can look him up. Like, Latin America is alone disproves your bullshit. You could research like other fucking parts of the world of America, what's been doing before World War II even. There has been a single dictator that this country has not supported. There is no good name of America. None. And before any of your dumbass fans call me, I'm an anti-American. Yeah, you're damn fucking right. Because to be pro-America is to be pro-Nazi. That's an uncomfortable truth that you and your audience aren't ready to accept.
Of America, or it would be if the good name of the United States of America was a thing that existed outside the imaginations of people like Joe Biden. Those things are true. I believe them. And I'm voting for Joe Biden.
Yeah, you're voting for Genocide Joe. Yeah, voting for Genocide Joe. Yeah, what's here is reason.
November 5th. And if you will be eligible to do so, I think you should vote for him too.
Oh, yes. Let's tell the families of Palestinians that have lost family members as a result of our government because of this genocide. Hell, even there's Americans that have lost family members at the hands of the IDF. Yeah, let's have those people vote for the murderer of these people's families. This is tone deaf, completely tone deaf. Oh yeah, let's vote for the guy that basically has made it illegal for Jews to be against Zionism, which is against their own religion. Yeah, let's actually support those people. Yeah, let's support Joe fucking Biden. You don't know anything, man. Shut the fuck up.
For months, social media has been filled with posts that include the hashtag Genocide Joe.
Yeah, Genocide Joe, because that's what he is. He's Genocide Joe, and he deserves it.
Frustration, disgust, and outrage.
Frustration. That's an understatement for those who've lost family members. That's an understatement for like Palestinians who've actually suffered even racist attacks. A Palestinian child was murdered in Florida because of the rhetoric by your fucking president.
Have been directed toward Biden, Biden's party, and Biden's supporters and apologists.
Yeah. And it's justified because you're supporting a genocide by supporting Joe Biden. You cannot fucking say that you're not supporting a genocide because Trump would be worse. That's hardly an argument.
Non-stop due to Biden's continuing support of the IDF's mass murder of Gazans. I've seen many people.
Hey, they're Palestinians, you fucker. Not Gazans. Palestinians. God, you see this, what I'm saying? You can't, people like this can't even give the Palestinians the dignity to call them by their actual name. They're not Gazans. They're Palestinians. And you're supposed to be a progressive? What a fucking joke.
People I respect post things like they really think they can subsidize a genocide and I'm going to reward them with my vote in November. That frustration, disgust, and outrage are justified. That incredulity is justified. I get it.
No, you don't get it. You have not talked to these people. You've not spoken to Jewish people who've had suffered anti-Semitic attacks or been accused of supporting Israel. You haven't talked to Palestinian families that have lost their children or their parents or their aunts or their uncles or have children or whatever, family members that have lost their entire family. You haven't talked to any of these people. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. This lack of empathy is why I hold you with contempt. You are supposed to be someone that's supposed to uphold the ideals of Star Trek, yet you're not doing it here.
Sympathize with it. I share it.
No, you don't. If you did, you wouldn't be in telling us to support this genocidal monster. You wouldn't be gaslighting people, especially those who've lost family members as a result of this war. No. You wouldn't. You don't care.
I'm still asking you to vote for Biden.
Yeah, you're asking for us to vote for Biden. Because that's all you can do. You cannot advocate for anything else. More has been done by people protesting against this genocide than fucking voting. I guarantee you on that, regardless how this happens, those students, they'll get more done than your fucking useless ass ever will by protesting against the genocide, by fighting against this government by any means necessary. You are a coward. Aaron Bergernell has balls, unlike you, who is willing to actually put his life on the line for a cause he believed in. He's a hero. The only thing you advocate for is for us to vote.
How can I say that? For one thing, your vote is not a reward.
Yes, it is. It actually literally is. You're basically telling the people in power, I'm okay with what you're doing. I support what you're doing. You supporting Joe Biden in any way, it doesn't matter what your intentions are, is endorsing a genocide. It's supporting a genocide. And you cannot run away from that responsibility. You have blood on your hands. It doesn't matter if Trump wins or not. You have blood on your hands because you are advocating for us to vote. If you vote for Biden, whether he wins or not, you have blood on your hands. It doesn't matter. I don't make the rules. Those in the third world, they don't give a shit one way or the other who's president because there's the same bombs are still going to drop, whether it's Trump doing it or Biden. There's more we could do. There's an even more difficult option we could do, but that truth is something you don't want to tell your audience because to actually stay true to Star Trek's values, you'd have to do something that would require risking your life for your ideas, which you have none.
I do believe it's valid to expect a candidate to do something to earn your vote in a sense, but I don't think your vote is a prize to be handed out to those who have proven themselves worthy. Your vote is not a prize. Your vote is not a gift. Your vote is the tiny share of input you, as a citizen of your country, get.
The Americans don't have any input on anything. Most Americans want something done about the cost of living. Americans want want college tuition to be free, doing away with student debt. Yet none of these things have been done. My generation and your generation and the generation that will come after me as well, we're in debt. Yet nothing is being done. And you fucking think that voting for this fucking genocidal monster is somehow giving us input? A vote for Joe Biden or Trump is not a choice at all.
Determining how your government is constituted, what your government does, what direction your country.
Oh, this is fucking rich. Everything that Trump would have done in his second term has been happening under Joe Biden. Have you forgotten the fuck? Of course, you probably don't even know this or care. The amount of states that have passed anti-LGBTQ plus laws throughout the country, or how it's more dangerous for trans people today than it was 4 years ago. This is happening under Joe Biden, or the repealing of Roe v. Wade. That's happened under Joe Biden. Or mass arrests of Jews protesting against Israel's genocide, mass arrests of students protesting against genocide. Really? Really? Do you really want to go there? Do you really want to go there? Really?
Country goes, what kind of a country it is. Those are big decisions. You don't make those decisions all by yourself. All of us who vote make those decisions collectively through
this liberal bullshit. I can't believe I actually believed this bullshit when I was young. This is nonsense.
Elections, and you are part of us.
No. The only people that buy into this horse shit are the same kind of people that still believe in the bullshit that is the American dream. No. You're not convincing me to vote for a genocidal monster or anyone with a conscience.
And I apologize for getting so basic in my description there. I'm not trying to talk over anyone's head. It's
yeah, you clearly are. You're gaslighting young people, Palestinians who have suffered loss as a result of this war, Muslims who are continuing to feel discrimination, Jewish people who are getting arrested by the police, beaten by the police, yet nothing's being done by the Zionists or the Nazis. You are gaslighting everyone who doesn't support Joe Biden. You're not fooling anyone.
Just that it seems like some of us have forgotten that's how this works.
No. Here's the thing. Young people are waking up to see that this democracy is a fucking sham. Most of us are not privileged, Steve, to be able to vote, and that's it. Most of us have our way of life isn't going to change just by voting for some fucking asshole every 4 years. Maybe if you actually talk to people more instead of just talking to middle class people in your echo chamber and actually talk to real people who are struggling, maybe you wouldn't have this tone deaf mentality that you have. Young people don't buy into this bullshit. They're smarter than you and smarter than me. And nothing's going to get done by voting for Biden. And no, Trump being worse is not an excuse, which you're gonna say very soon.
Voting in an election isn't the same as voting for the winner in a talent show. The people who win elections occupy some of the most powerful positions in our society. They have the power to make laws, to determine when and how those laws are enforced.
Yeah, but why can't we have a say? In fact, why can't we advocate that the people should have a say? Fuck the president. I'm serious. Fuck the president. Why can't the people have a say what laws get passed and how they're enforced? Why do we have to vote for some fucking white asshole every 4 years to dictate how we fucking live our fucking lives? Why? Why should we? Seriously, why should we? No, I advocate for a more radical approach, something far more radical than just voting. Though what I am advocating for is not legal, actually. But then again, the creation of America wasn't legal to begin with, if you get my meaning, people.
To decide when to spend money and when not to spend it, and in some cases, to craft and carry out foreign policy that defines our place in the international community. And here's another thing about elections: somebody always wins.
Yes, and you know who, and you want to know who doesn't win? The proletariat. We never win in these elections. No matter who wins, everyone loses. The only people that win is the donor class. Why the fuck should we play by their rules? I'm serious. Any intelligent person can see that writing's on the wall. Why should we play their game? There's more of us than them. Sorry, more of us than them. This is ridiculous. This is complete nonsense.
Eventually, in our upcoming presidential election, somebody is going to win. The winner of that election will be the president of the United States for the next 4 years.
And why does that matter? Because whether it's Trump or Biden, they're both going to drop bombs on Gaza. Whether it's assuming Gaza still exists in November, whether Trump or Biden wins, it doesn't matter. The deterioration of our living standards is going to go down. People are still going to find it more and more difficult to have a place to find a place to live, to be able to put food on the table, to be able to make ends meet. That is not going to change no matter who's president. Like, most people don't give a shit about presidential elections. They have other shit on their mind that's more important, like how they're going to make ends meet. That is what real people fucking care about. They don't care about these fraudulent elections. Intelligent people have actually could see right through this facade that is the American fucking voting system. It's bullshit. It always has been bullshit and always will be bullshit. That's the uncomfortable truth that you and your audience are not ready to hear. Though, for those of you who are convinced of my video, who formerly watched him, welcome to the light, because it's only gonna get worse from here. Well, you would you rather be free or would you rather be enslaved? And I'm not going to even say take the red pill, because fascists have freaking ruined that. But seriously, get out of the fucking matrix.
Beginning on January 2025. Like it or not, unless something truly unexpected takes place between now and then, the winner of that election will either be Joe Biden or it will be Donald Trump. Let's leave aside every other reason to prefer Biden to Trump and focus on Gaza. You're a single issue voter, and
Gaza is not the only concern, but it is one of the most important issues of our time, because it is a televised genocide. It is the most documented genocide in history. And if you're not concerned about the genocide in Gaza, then guess what? They can do that anywhere around the world. If they can if the imperialists get away what they do in Gaza, they can do it anywhere. No, it is important to do something about Gaza, because they'll do it. They've done it all over the world. Never again means never again. And if you can't handle that there are those who care more about Gaza than other issues, you know what? Fuck off, because Jews have been on the defensive for so long, they can't ever be at peace, because every time Israel does some fucking act of aggression, they constantly have to protest against it and constantly say, not in my name, not in my name. Because if they don't do that, the Jewish religion as a whole will be seen as supporters of Israel. No, this is bullshit. This is bullshit. This is an important issue. And if it's not important to you, then honestly, that says a lot about you and your audience.
Gaza is your issue. You're not comfortable voting for Biden because of everything I've been talking about. I understand.
It's more than just Gaza, but Gaza is the main thing most people are fixated on because he's an open supporter of this genocide.
But can you make me understand how it would be better for the people of Gaza if Donald Trump were president?
Oh, yes. The same. Oh, the lesser evil. Oh, yeah. Of course it's going to be worse under Trump. But is that really relevant, though? No, that's just basically saying, oh, yeah, Biden may be terrible, but Trump will be a lot worse. It's like, no, I don't care if Trump will be worse. It doesn't justify voting for a monster. There's other things you could do. Not participate in the system. Resist. Voting isn't resistance. This is the reason why the politicians, they don't give us what we want.
What reason is there to?
What reason do politicians in America to give Americans what they want? There is no reason, because Americans will do it anyway in their eyes.
Believe that Trump would be any harder on the Netanyahu.
Nobody has any doubts that Trump will be any better. In fact, he'll be worse. But is that really any comfort to the families? If one person won't do anything and the other person who comes in after him will be worse, is that really an argument? No. In fact, that actually condemns America more by saying that, because that basically says everything about this country, that this country is a country of genocide and fascism. And I think you're not arguing very good in the favor of voting for Biden. In fact, you're actually reinforcing those who despise Genocide Joe arguments even further, and those who look at America as Nazi Germany. If voting for Joe Biden prevents someone who's even worse, like Trump, who's even more flambastic about a genocide, then what does that say about America and its political system? It's fascist. And voting for the lesser fascist isn't going to do anything but help the rise of fascism. We don't have to play their game. We shouldn't have to play their game. In fact, we don't have to play their game. There's another way.
Who government than Biden has been. It seems far more likely that Trump would be even worse for the Palestinians. The day before I wrote the script for this video, Thursday, May 9, Trump denounced Biden for saying he'd cut off the flow of weapons to Israel if the invasion of Rafah went ahead. He accused Biden of siding with the terrorists. He said it was disgraceful. Previously, Trump has also said he would discontinue U.S. humanitarian aid to the Palestinians.
Isn't what Biden's already doing, though? Isn't he already doing that? Why is this guy... He talks about uncomfortable terms about Biden, yet he won't talk about Joe Biden cutting off aid. My God. So much bullshit. And God. We've been doing this for almost an hour. So much bullshit. So much bullshit. Fuck.
And encourage other countries to do the same. And he has pledged to reinstate the Muslim ban he implemented early in his presidency and expand it to bar Gazan refugees, deport immigrants suspected of being sympathetic to Hamas, and ban people.
Joe Biden's already doing that.
Who aren't supportive of Israel from entering the U.S.
Yeah, Joe Biden's already doing that.
And sure, you might say, well, I'm not going to vote for Trump either. Okay. But that brings us back to somebody always wins the election. The next president is going to be Biden or it's going to be Trump. As bad as Biden has been for the Palestinians, there's no reason to believe Trump will be any better. To the contrary, Trump has given every indication that he will be far, far worse.
It's hardly relevant. It doesn't matter whether Trump is a fascist or Biden is a genocidal monster. It's the same thing to the people that have suffered under Israel's apartheid regime. It's no different.
So if you care about the Palestinian people, particularly those in Gaza, it seems to me you should want to do your part to make their situation better. Or
actually, yeah, you're right. We don't vote for Genocide Joe. We protest. We sabotage the U.S. war machine. We do everything possible, everything necessary to bring this genocide to a halt. Everything necessary to bring this fascist genocidal regime to an end. We don't do that by voting. We do it by other means. But you're too much of a coward to do what Aaron Burchnell did. You don't even have half the balls that he has. No, you don't even have the quarter of the balls he had. Because to actually have principles, to not be a fucking cowardly little bitch, you would be advocating just a vote. You'd be advocating to actually resist Biden and his cronies by any means necessary. Joe Biden has signed into, I don't know if he's signed into law or is signing into law, to make it illegal to criticize Israel, effectively making Jews protesting against a genocide in their name illegal, which is anti-Semitism. Joe Biden has helped the rise of anti-Semitism even more in this country. So no, Mr. Steve, what you're advocating for isn't better for the Palestinians. What's better for the Palestinians is resistance, not voting. Such liberal garbage.
At least keep it from getting worse.
You can keep it from getting worse by doing what I just said.
Part of that effort has to be stopping Donald Trump from becoming president again. How do we stop Donald Trump from becoming president again? We elect Joe Biden.
Yes, elect the guy who is no different from Trump. Yeah, that's totally gonna stop Trump. Yeah, there's someone who's far worse than Trump that will come. There's Tom Cotton who makes Trump look like a saint. Yeah, every time there's a person worse than the previous, liberals always tell us to vote. No, we could do more than just vote. And you know what? This is a hard truth for you people in his audience. If you're watching this, you're going to have to make a choice someday. Are you going to pick up a gun and fight against your government? Or are you just going to die a fucking coward? Because those are your options. You think freaking Trump or Biden, whoever wins the election, isn't going to fucking do some of the same things that Nazis eventually end up doing to Jewish people? Voting isn't going to save you. It never has. It never will. People like this are telling us to basically just passively resist, when the most effective ways of resistance is always through the means of what Hamas is doing, what the Viet Minh did, what the people in the Warsaw ghettos did. Resistance, armed resistance, is what will save the people of Gaza, not voting.
That doesn't mean voting for Biden is the only thing you can do or the only thing you should do. It's not. Protest, advocate, push. If Biden's recent declaration to halt arms shipments to Israel proves nothing else, it proves that he can be moved. It might take a lot longer than it should.
He doesn't care.
It might require a lot more effort than it should,
God.
But he is able and willing to change his mind.
No, he isn't. Joe Biden doesn't fucking care. Joe Biden has pushed racist propaganda against the Palestinian people every chance he got when he talked about what was going on in Gaza. Joe Biden is an apologist and a lifelong Zionist. No, he's not doing anything. Yeah, liberals are sleeping.
Keep up the pressure. Speak out. Make your voice heard. Let everyone know, especially the politicians who are asking for your vote in November, that you care about the people of Gaza and you demand that the United States government use its
You're not going to show the people of Gaza you care by voting for Genocide Joe. In fact, it's the opposite.
power and influence to help the people of Gaza, not to supply and run interference for the army trying to wipe them out. Then, when election time comes around this fall, vote for Joe Biden. Not because he deserves it, not because the people of Gaza don't deserve better, because he's the best of the viable options. And
No,
because
he's not.
contributing to the best result for the people of Gaza.
The best viable option is resistance. That is the most viable option. Not fucking being a little cowardly little bitch and just voting and that's it. Cowards like you are the kind of people that got shot during the rise of the Nazis.
Gaza is something we should all be willing to do, even if we have to hold our nose or swallow our pride or set aside
our pride. Oh boy, this is such slimy bullshit. Pride. Palestinians have had their dignity stripped from them for 76 years. You, in this video, have deprived them of their dignity by referring to them not by what they actually are, but calling the people of Gaza Gazans when they're Palestinian. Not Gazans, Palestinian. This is not about pride, you fucker. It's about caring about humanity. And we have no illusions that Trump is freaking going to be worse. But that doesn't excuse... That doesn't mean we should fucking vote for Biden. The fucker doesn't give a shit about fucking Palestinians. The fucker is freaking helping the spread of anti-Semitism with the freaking anti-Semitism fucking act that will make it illegal to criticize Israel. Violence is being committed against freaking Jewish students who are protesting against Israel. Violence is being committed against Jews who are protesting against a genocide being committed in their name. Voting for Joe Biden is showing support for the Israeli government. There is no middle ground on this. You either support Israel or you don't support Israel. And voting for Joe Biden is a support for the genocide that's going on in Gaza. You don't get to wave that away and say, oh, I don't support the genocide. Yes, you do. You do. You do. And you don't get to say otherwise.
Our anger. If you're not willing to do that, ask yourself this. Is your refusal to vote for Biden about Gaza? Or is it about you?
Fuck you. I dare you to say that to those families who've lost family members who live in the United States against the IDF. I dare you to say that to them. I dare you to say that to the victims of black people who've been fucking victimized by Joe Biden. I dare you to say that to them too. I dare you, you white motherfucker. This is what when I say this, white liberals are the absolute worst. They're incapable of empathy. Incapable of empathy. They are incapable, and any empathy that they have is superficial. It is extremely superficial. Whatever empathy these people have is very superficial. It's like, my God. My fucking God. Oh God, that was awful. Holy shit. That was fucking awful. I cannot believe I sat through that again. Holy shit. Oh God. Vote blue no matter who is an endorsement of genocide. For anyone in his audience that have made it to the end, I have I have just things I have to say to you. I'll reiterate what I said like multiple times. Gaslighting people who have been victims of the IDF and Americans that have lost family members in Gaza as well. Because there's people, Americans that were in Gaza that have been killed by the Israeli government. You have no shame. You really don't have any shame telling these people that they don't care about anyone but themselves, that it's all about their own pride and ego, can get fucked. Seriously, you can get fucked. If you cannot see how reprehensible it is to what Steve just said at the end of his video about people who refuse to vote for Joe Biden. Majority of those people are fucking are Muslim. They're Arabs who've actually suffered increased discrimination as a result of what's been going on in Gaza. Why the fuck should they vote for Joe Biden? Oh, but Trump will reinstitute the Muslim ban. Biden certainly isn't fucking doing anything to protect the Muslims in America. He isn't doing anything certainly to protect Jews. He's passing a law to make it illegal to be essentially a genuine Jewish person in this country. He's passing a law against Orthodox Judaism. Joe Biden is acting fucking just like a fucking Nazi. Or what about the TikTok ban, which exposes the war crime against freaking the war crimes against that the IDF is committing. Like, it's exposing the genocide. I'm not saying that Joe Biden, he may not receive. Oh yeah, sorry. I've had a long day at work, so I'm tired. Well, he never did. It's like Joe Biden hasn't done anything for any of these vulnerable communities. He's done nothing for trans people. He's done nothing for Jews who are suffering anti-Semitic attacks and harassment as a result of the genocide. He's done nothing about Palestinians who are in America who are suffering racism and violence as a result. His rhetoric led to the death of a Palestinian child. Joe Biden's inaction has led to the deaths of multiple LGBTQ plus people. And I'll say this, Aaron Burgeow, he has more courage than any of you. He's actually was willing to die for his cause. He had a conscience. Voting for Joe Biden basically just tells the ruling class in America, you support them. And you know what? Also, by supporting Joe Biden, you also show to the entire world you don't give a fuck about anyone but yourself. Because that's exactly what voting for Genocide Joe is. Oh, you only care about fucking Trump because you're afraid what Trump may do something to disrupt your life. But you don't give a fuck about the people in fucking Gaza or the Americans, Palestinians who live here, how their lives have been affected, how they don't know if they'll see their family members again, or those who have lost their entire families. You don't give a fuck about them. This is all fucking about white people. White people always do this shit. They don't care about anyone but themselves. I know I'm going to have some idiot say, oh, but Darth Sinovia, aren't you white? Unfortunately, yes. Culturally, I'm trying to deprogram myself. don't think I've been completely successful as much as I would like. It's like this video was, whether he intended it or not, he showed not only his ignorance about the Palestinian struggle, racism against Palestinians with his comments about Hamas. I will not apologize for not condemning Hamas. Why should I? To condemn colonized people in itself is disgusting. Colonized people have a right to resist. This is the thing I hate about white fucking liberals, especially those who consume pop culture. They'll gladly support marginalized people in media who will fight by any means necessary to win their liberation, or after it happens, because if they actually saw what the Bajorans had to do on screen, I'm just going to be real. None of these people would have supported the Bajorans in Deep Space Nine. They would have gone, oh, these people are going too far. They should try to have a dialogue with the Cardassians. I guarantee you, like, had they shown the Palestinian resistance for real in Deep Space Nine, outside of a few flashbacks, you would have saw more sympathy for the Cardassians than you would have for the Bajorans. I bring this up because liberals don't like seeing revolution. Even in media. If it happens after the fact, they'll be okay with it because they don't get to see the atrocities that are required. But these people wouldn't even support the Bajorans if we actually had a full series of an actual resistance fighting against a fascist government. It's just amazing how these pop culture liberals will support fighting against a fascist government in media, but they will never do it in the real world. They never will. Yes. Free Palestine. It's like, the only reason I did this, because what I watched set me off so much as a Star Trek fan and the person who does Star Trek content, that I had no choice but to do it. Because as a Star Trek fan, and especially with Deep Space Nine being my favorite show, and with the show dealing with decolonization and what was required to get it done, I had no choice but to talk about it. No. The Bajoran resistance, what they had to do in Deep Space Nine to liberate their people from the fucking Cardassians, whatever way they had to do it, doesn't matter how violent the resistance was, it was completely justified. Everything they did to free themselves from the Cardassians was completely justified. Just like what the Palestinians are doing right now in Gaza is justified. If you don't fucking like the fact that Hamas exists in the first place, then I got an idea for you. For every fucking Zionist shithead that watches this, go home. Go back to Europe. Go back to America. Go back to where you came from. Go back to where you came from. You don't want to fucking deal with being shot at by the oppressed? Then leave. Leave. Yeah, exactly. This is why I'm saying, fuck the Israelis. Why should I give a fuck about these people? Israel is a society of sadistic psychopaths. Why should I care? You're never going to get me to fucking care about these people. I don't give a fuck about Israelis. Fuck them. I despise them. And why the fuck should anybody who lives in America who suffered from an Israeli, why should they feel anything for them? In fact, here's something. Even in America, they're not safe from fucking Zionists. So Gaza is an important issue because The Zionists are everywhere. They're allowed to do whatever they want with no consequences. And if we reward these people, then we endorse the genocide. We allow it to continue. No, we don't have to fucking endorse this genocide. We don't have to fucking vote at all. Fuck it. Why? Give me one reason why we should vote. Give me one. Other than you are a fucking coward and you're more comfortable with doing the bare minimum. In fact, the people that push vote blue no matter who are the whitest motherfuckers possible. Nobody who pushes this is of any ethnicity but white or some bootlick. Fuck these bootlickers. Fuck Joe Biden supporters. Fuck all these people that gaslight people who actually have suffered a genocide or suffering a genocide, who are losing family members in Gaza. Fuck you. Fuck you for gaslighting these people. Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe. Genocide Joe. Fuck 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 Genocide Joe. And fuck all of his supporters.